Hi, welcome. I'm glad to see everybody here. And today I'm going to talk about the simplest form of business ownership, which is a sole proprietorship. Sandra, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I saw that my husband joined in a little while ago. Hi, Hi, babe. Hi, Brian. Glad to have you guys here. So let me start first by introducing myself. My name is Elena Tercero, and I am the owner and founder of Little Light Accounting, a CPA firm based in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So today I want to talk to you about the simplest form of business ownership, which is a sole proprietor. It's very simple, very easy, and that's why most people will start out that way. So I'm going to talk about some the good sides of being a sole proprietor, like some of the good things, and then some of the not so good things, and some ways that you can avoid those heartaches that can happen when you are a sole proprietor. So that way, when you're starting out, if this is really where you want to be and you just want to start at the very beginning, then that's fine. But you want to mitigate any of those trouble areas if you can, and you can. So we'll talk about that as well. So the first one, it's simple and it's easy. If you are going to do business as your name, so if I were doing business as Elena Tercero, then I wouldn't need to fill out any other paperwork. If you want to own a business, it's called a DBA, doing business as. Then you're going to have to go to your state and fill out the paperwork in order to do that. So Little Light Accounting, for example, I had to go and declare that name with the state of New Mexico. So that way people knew that it is both my name is now associated to my business. Now, I'm not set up as a sole proprietor. I am actually set up personally for my business as an S Corp. So I'll talk about that in another Periscope, but just as an example. So it's only one owner. That's really nice because you have complete control of your business. Now, if you're married and you and your spouse own this business, it is still considered a sole proprietorship because from the IRS's standpoint, you are one and the same. So even if a husband and a wife owns this sole proprietorship or this business together, that is still okay. But if that's the case, then you're going to need to fill out the paperwork for the doing business as. You can, so it's very simple because you're going to use your social security number as your tax identification number when you're working with your customers. Yeah, I'm going to try, Sandra, I'm going to try and go through each of the types of business ownership and setup entities as we know them. So starting at the basic and then moving my way up. So I'll definitely cover that. It's going to take me a little while to get there, but I will get there so that way you can tune in on that one. You can, if you are going to hire employees, you can hire employees as a sole proprietorship. But if you do that, you will need to register with the IRS to get an employee identification number. So, as your business grows, you really want to take a look at the type of business that you are. So that way you don't always want to stay as a sole proprietorship, especially if you're going to start hiring employees. So I'll get into that as I progress through the different types of business ownership and the types of businesses that you can own. Now, it's really easy for tax purposes when you own a sole proprietorship because it's still one tax return. So you're going to use what's called a Schedule C for your tax return, but that gets filed with your personal tax return. So there's one other paper that needs to be completed, or tax component that needs to be completed, and then that moves into your personal tax return. So your business is taxed based on the amount of money overall that you make. If you're married, then you're going to look at that, your spouse's income, your income from your business, any deductions that you have. And now I'm getting, really into taxes, but just keep that in mind. You are taxed at your tax bracket for an S corporation, for a sole proprietorship. So you will at the end, so you're going to take a look at how much money you made, how much money you had to pay out. The difference is how much you've made. Then you will pay self-employment tax. So it's just a portion of the taxes. If you were an employee, you'd be paying a portion. Your employer would be paying a portion to Social Security and FICA, Medicaid, all of that. You're going to pay the whole thing, but half of that is a deduction on your tax return. So you will be paying a part of your self-employment tax, which is good because at the end of the road, assuming that people like ourselves will have the ability to tap into Social Security, it'll be there for us. With everything going on, it may not be there for us, but we're still helping those that have come before us to be able to have a little bit of money. So we are paying into that. Some of the downsides of owning your business as a sole proprietor. Number one, you have, as a person, as an individual, have complete liability for the company. Debts, as well as any legal liability that may happen. So you want to make sure that when you're setting up, if you are going to go into business, you are going to do a sole proprietorship, banks tend to not loan sole proprietors money as easily because they just don't know the stability of the business. Now, I personally don't recommend, I talked about this yesterday in my Periscope, I don't recommend that you go into debt for your business. You want to be able to run this and cash flow this. Using debt as a means of lowering your taxable income just doesn't make sense because then you're owing somebody and you're only taking a very small portion of that loan as a deduction. It's only the interest that you can deduct on your taxes for any business. So the interest rates right now are so low, you are getting a very small return for having to go out and go into debt. So that's one way to mitigate that issue of being liable. The other thing, as far as the debt is concerned, so the other types of liability, if you have employees, you also are liable for them. So that would kind of be, as a sole proprietor. So you want to be careful with that. And that's why I talked about the other types of business ownership and wanting to take a look at that going on down the line to making sure that when you are having employees, that you take a look at that type of business ownership. Mom. It is hard to raise money. And I've got my daughter with me, and so she's coming to ask me a question. Give me just a sec. What? No, not yet. So we've got another thing is it's hard to raise money for businesses, for sole proprietors. I talked a little bit about that. The banks typically do not loan money to sole proprietors. It is harder. You have to be in business longer, provide those financial statements and show that you really are stable. And if it's your only source of income, the bank is kind of leery, especially after 2008, of loaning money to them. So you want to be cognizant of that. You also cannot sell stock in your business as a sole proprietor. You can only start doing that when you go into the S corporations, which I'll talk about going on down the line. So, if those two of those things kind of are in the back of your mind and you're wanting to raise money in some way, the sole proprietorship may not be where you want it to be. I also did have other things to mitigate. I'm going to go backtrack just a little bit of the liability, the risk of the liability. So if you're hiring employees, one, you want to make sure that you're not an S corporation anymore because you want to have some personal security. And so that way, if something happens, whatever happens, they don't come and sue you as a person as well as the business. So you want to look at that when you're hiring employees. The other thing you want to do is to make sure you have liability insurance for your business, no matter what type of business that you own, to help mitigate some of that risk. And if you are working in other places where you're going to your clients, you also want to consider looking at workers' comp insurance. For my friends that are instructors, you also want to have insurance for you as an instructor, just so that way you're covering yourself if something does happen. In any event, you have that insurance to help you, and it doesn't pull you back as a business and having to start from ground zero. You really don't want that to happen. So it's hard to raise money, and it really puts a heavy burden on you and as an individual. So sole proprietorships are very, very simple to set up. The easiest to set up, you just decide that you are a business. You're using your social security number. You only if you're going to do business as something other than your name will you need to file something with the state, so that way they know that you're doing business as something else. Another thing to look at in your states is gross receipts tax. There are some states, most states, that do charge gross receipts tax, so you will need to set up something with the state corporation or the state tax agency, so that way they know that you're in business, and so that way they can expect that your taxes are coming in every so often. Thank you very much for sharing. I do appreciate you sharing with your friends and followers, and if you do find value in what I am talking about, please do share this Periscope with your followers. You can tap on the little Perry guy down on the right side of the screen, or you can swipe up on an iOS, swipe right on an Android, and share with both your Twitter followers and those that you are following, or that are following you on, or that you're following on Periscope. So that way they know that this information is out there and available for them. So some of the downsides, or one of the good things about owning your own business, as a sole proprietor, easy tax return, Schedule C that is combined with your personal tax return. You are taxed at your tax rate, so you're not double taxed. You will be paying into self-employment tax, which can be a benefit for you later on down the line. Some of the downsides is the liability that really comes into play in being a sole proprietor. You are personally liable for everything that goes on in your business. So one way to mitigate that is to make sure that you have insurance. I'll talk tomorrow about LLCs and how that provides a little bit more shelter for you as an individual. Doesn't always work that way, and I will talk about that because I do actually have some personal experience with that in co-owning a business with my husband and then also some friends of ours. So I'll share that story just so that way you know from personal experience, and again, you know, in the state of New Mexico, but it's pretty much the same everywhere. So I'll talk about that tomorrow. You really want to make sure that you have the insurance for that. And then it's very hard to raise capital for your business as a sole proprietor. If you're going to go to the banks, it's very difficult sometimes to be able to get that funding from them. But it is also hard to do, you can't give stocks. I mean, you can't trade it publicly. That's a corporation. Only corporations can be traded publicly. When you get to that point, that's a whole other world. But S corporations allow you to give out a certain number of stocks, and they do not have to be traded on a national or international stock exchange. So I'll talk about those also during my S Corporation Periscope, so that way you know about all the different types of businesses. So I really do hope that you found value in this. I do have tax tips on my website that you can register for and download. And then I'm also sending emails so that way you have more information and you have them readily available. So let me get you the link. It is bit.ly/LLA tax tips. And I'll put this up real quick. And Blue Sage, I will answer your question in just a sec. So if you guys want to get a screenshot of this, my name is Elena Tercero, and I am the owner and founder of Little Light Accounting. And I am, the CPA firm is based in, well, sometimes, there you go. Sometimes I am based in New Mexico, Jen. Thank you very much. So one thing to keep in mind is that even though I am in New Mexico, I can help businesses across the United States. That's one really awesome thing that has happened in the last few years for CPAs. The IRS has allowed us to work with companies across your state border without having to go and get a license in that particular state. So before, we couldn't do that. There wasn't any portability. So you had to have a license or have been registered with the state that you're going to work with those clients. That line has now been drawn for or erased for tax returns, and then also for some financial statement preparation. So that really helps me as a business owner to help people that I know need help in other states. So just because I am in New Mexico doesn't mean that I can't help you. Some of the tax laws, I'm learning some of the other tax laws in different states. And I talked about gross receipts tax, like New Mexico has gross receipts tax. There's 2 or 3 states right now that doesn't have gross receipts tax. So when I'm preparing taxes for people that live outside of the state, I will bring my tax software. I will purchase the tax software for all states. So that will also help me to know what is different between New Mexico or any other state. So now as a CPA, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for you to hire me as your CPA and I could only do your federal return. When we prepare taxes, we prepare both the federal and the state because one flows into the other. So it makes it very difficult for other CPAs. You know, if I were to do the federal one and then send you to somebody in Arizona, they're going to say, well, no, I just rather do them both. So yes, I do Arizona. So do contact me. If you sign up for my PDF for the tax tips, you will get my email address and you can respond back to the email that it gets sent to. And so you can definitely get in contact with me. Put it up real quick one more time, and you can go also to my website, littlelightakcounting.com, and I do have a contact me form there that will also get the email to me. So bit.ly/LLA tax tips. So Massachusetts, that's funny. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having faith in me, and I will get you the information that you had asked about today, so that way you can take a look at it and we can see what we need to do for you and your business and how to get it set up properly and see what makes the most sense for you. So tomorrow I will be back. I will be talking about limited liability corporations, also known as LLCs, and I'll do the same thing, the positive side, some of the drawbacks, how to sort of overcome those that could be those drawbacks. So S corporations, yes, I do S corporations. My business is actually an S corp. So I'll also talk about those in my future scopes, but I'm starting from the bottom and working my way up on complexity of the type of business that you can own. Perfect, awesome. So you set yours up already as an S corp, and so I'm working with mine already. You've got mine set up, incorporated it the way that I needed to, both within the state and with the IRS. So definitely can help you with that. Yes, thank you. And I will be back tomorrow. And I'm also thinking about doing, and we'll see about timing for today, but I want to do a personal budgeting Periscopes, a 7-day challenge related to Dave Ramsey's baby step budgeting. I've been a CPA since, I learned how to do taxes since I was in 7th grade. I've been preparing taxes since high school. Got my bachelor's degree in 2002. Let's see if I can remember all this. Got my bachelor's degree in accounting in 2002. I have my master's degree, got that in 2008, and then became a CPA in 2012. So in between all of that, I was married, working with multitude of different companies at the time. We've got 4 kids together. My husband and I have 4 kids, so I've been busy in between all of that time from when I got out of college up until finally getting the exams out of the way. Yeah, and I'm still sane, I'm still standing, I'm still here to help you. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been interesting. Most of my friends, some of my friends on here, I saw Sass jump in a little while ago. Sandra has come in. There's a few people that I actually friended on Twitter, and we all started out with the CPA exam. And that's hard enough as it is. There they are right there. They just popped up in the feed, and so many others. I found them all on Twitter. We had this group called Twitty Group, hashtag Twitty Group, and we just totally went through these exams together. We never really took the same exams at the same time, but that encouragement, that motivation, that accountability to keep going, to keep studying, to keep asking questions like, okay, so this study material didn't work. What are you using, and how are you doing it? And just all of that pushed us all to finally get through that hurdle. So yes, I am I am still standing. I am still going strong. I have major test anxiety. No doubt, totally honest, that's what happens when you study for the CPA exam, or probably the bar exam, or any other major exams like that. So it was interesting, and I have lots of stories about that. So actually, I'll tell you really briefly. I had passed one exam. Found out that I was pregnant with my youngest daughter. If you were here earlier, you saw her sneak in. She's at home with me today. And I thought, okay, how in the world am I going to do this? I've got 3 exams left, and I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to, and one of my exams was set to expire. So I passed 3 of the 4 parts of the CPA exam while I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, having to retake one of the sections because I lost the credit for it. So talk about a push and a drive and a why for your business. She was that for me, and I called her my study buddy and my gap baby. It's an accounting terminology that we use. Dedicated, yes. Determined, maybe a little stubborn too, but I'm here and I'm standing, and I'm here to help you, even though I did struggle with it. Yeah, Sandra, it was pretty crazy. Oh, you used to work at the IRS on the tax side, or just doing something else? Interested to know. I've met some people. Stubborn Girls Unite. Yes, we do. I've met some people that work for the IRS, and instantly they think, oh yeah, no, and right away they're like, no, I don't work on the tax side. No, I don't come and audit you. No, I don't, so they get pretty sad when that's the first thing you think of when you think of IRS. So just wanted to ask that and see. So sometimes you did. Well, that's good. That really does help your business because you have some of that knowledge already. And EEO, okay. And that helps you. And that's why I'm here. I really want to provide the tools and the resources for entrepreneurs that are starting out, or maybe already have had their business established, but just don't know where to go next. You know, they don't have that communication with whoever's doing their taxes, or they don't have a CPA, and they really need that. And so that's why I'm here to really provide that information for you, to give this information to you, and in turn to hopefully build my client list or my clientele in helping you not only with the information that I'm giving, but to be able to be the CPA for you and your business. So I will just recap who I am just to end. Elena Tercero is my name. I am the owner and founder of Little Light Accounting, a CPA firm based here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And so I really do enjoy spending the time with you guys, being able to share my information and knowledge to help you with your business. And I really do hope that you found value in this. I did ask earlier, but please, if you do find value, share with your followers, both on Twitter and on Periscope. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Herbs and affirmations, awesome. My uncle sold herbs for years. He had a health food shop here for many years, and I actually worked with him at the store a couple summers, 2 or 3 summers, I guess, part-time. So that was really fun to be able to learn, and we still use quite a few of the herbs. I tend to go more natural than medicinal if I can. So, you know, that's what's really cool about, that's what's really cool about being on here, is you end up, you know, knowing your customers and knowing, you know, we have a connection already and we didn't even know each other. So that's what's really awesome about being able to do something like this on Periscope, is to be able to find those people that are like-minded like you. So for those of you that own businesses that are on Periscope, if you are not doing Periscopes yet, I encourage you to jump in, really give it a shot, and get out there. You know what your business is. You know how you can provide value and insight to your customers, and so do that. You don't need a lot of equipment. I mean, the first one I did, I used a water bottle. Actually, I have it right here. I used a water bottle, this one right here, and I rigged it. I rigged my phone. I got 2 rubber bands, and I put my phone onto this, and I sat at my kitchen table. So just jump, sass, really jump. I mean, have a kind of an idea of what you're going to talk about, and then you just go from there. You know, my very first ones I started, and now, you know, it's been about 2 weeks and or 3 weeks, and I think now I should have started with this in the beginning and then moved to everything else. But when you just go, you know, you learn. And so now I'm putting it all. See, a cooler. I mean, you figure it out. And there are other things that you can purchase just on Amazon, and they're really inexpensive. So you can purchase things, but at the beginning, and you're not really sure if you want to do this and you want to keep doing it, just rig it and just go with it and see what happens, and see how many people that you can kind of get to bring into what you're doing and to learn about you. So I really encourage you as a business owner to jump in to Periscope and start doing broadcasts. And like I said, my daughter is here with me, so she's here coming to ask me another question. She's getting into some snacks very early this morning that she probably shouldn't be. So I am going to hang out with her. Like I said earlier, I probably will be back. You are very welcome. Thank you very much for jumping in. Yeah, see, not very good, but because what happens when I'm listen. When I'm hanging out with you guys, and she's kind of doing her own thing. So I'm going to go back and hang out with her some more this morning. I will try to come back later this afternoon. I want to do a 7-day budget challenge, and it can be done for both your business and personal. So I will be using the Dave Ramsey, it does match her dress. I will be using the Dave Ramsey principles of budgeting. So I want to do a 7-day challenge with that. So I will try to be back on to do that later this afternoon. And I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you. She says that you're cute since you can't read. Say thank you.
Thank you.
So I will be back to do that. I do appreciate you jumping in today. I know that you could jump in on any Periscope, and I'm really glad that you chose mine to jump into, and I look forward to seeing you on another one. And I will see you later.
Bye.